Hello, adventurers of all shapes and sizes! My name is Chance, welcome to my Spellbook, and thank you so much for tuning into the 5th episode of our combat series. This one is probably going to be the longest, at least out of the individual videos. There's a lot more to cover here than I initially ever could have imagined. So, that being said, let's take a look at movement and position, which you don't inherently think is really complicated, but it kind of is. So with that being said, let's run along now and take a look at how does movement work. Once per turn, you have a maximum move speed. It is determined by your race, class, and any buffs and debuffs applied to you. Moving between actions and attacks. You can part out your movement throughout your turn, so you can move, attack again, or move, attack again, move, bonus action, move, reaction, stuff like that. So you can part out your turn however as you like. Moving around other creatures. So this is a particularly interesting one in the way that you can move through friendly and hostile creatures at least 2 sizes larger or smaller than you. Interesting, and that's determined by creature space, which we'll get into a little bit later. It is considered difficult terrain, which we'll also get into later, and you may not end your turn there. Using different speeds. If you have multiple movements, movement speeds that is, you can switch back and forth throughout your turn. You subtract all movement from both movement speeds though. So for example, let's say you have a run speed of 60 and a fly speed of 30, however it is you got it. You would only be able to move a total of 60 feet, not 90 feet, because you would have to subtract any distance moved from both totals. So to get the most bang for your buck, you'd probably use the fly speed first to its maximum, because flying's super useful and you really don't want to be caught in the air with no way to get down. We'll get into that a little bit later, and then your movement speed for the rest of the turn. That being said, let's take a look at all of the special kinds or types of movement. The first being difficult terrain. Every foot in difficult terrain costs 1 extra foot of movement. So if you want to move 5 feet, it's now 10 feet. It essentially doubles it. It does stack with other things though, so we'll get into that later as well. Prone. You can fall prone for no movement cost. However, standing up takes half of your maximum movement. Your movement is considered to be a crawl, and every foot of movement costs 1 extra foot. This also stacks with difficult terrain. So if you have both difficult terrain and the crawling movement, for every 1 foot moved, it costs an extra 2. So if you want to move 5 feet, it actually costs you 15. You have disadvantage on attack rolls, and creatures within 5 feet of you have advantage on attack rolls against you. Creatures further away, however, have disadvantage. Flying. Flying is one of the best movement types in 5e. However, it does have an element of danger to it. If a flying creature without magical aid or hover is made prone or reduced to 0 speed, it falls, dealing 1 die 6 per 10 feet to a maximum of 20 die 6, which is pretty dang massive. Let's move on to special types of movement, part 2. Climbing, swimming, and crawling. Every 1 foot in an unfamiliar movement costs an extra 1 foot of movement. The DM can also mix in various checks to determine the success of the movement. This is like in the instance of a strong current pulling against you, or a slippery rock in the stone wall you're scaling, stuff like that. Jumping. So jumping is broken down into 2 main types, that is the long jump and the high jump, and from there it is broken down into the running or standing variants of it. We'll start with long jump. If you do a running long jump, it's based off of your strength score, not your modifier, your score, and it's an equal number of feet. It does consume the movement, though, so bear that in mind. Standing, so that's without a 10-foot running start, just from a stationary position or 5 feet, anything under 10 feet. It's your strength score divided by 2. In terms of high jump, if you take a running start, that's a 10-foot running start, it's 3 plus your strength modifier, so the littler number. Standing, however, so no running movement speed, is 3 plus your strength modifier divided by 2. The minimum for all of these, by the way, is 0. The DM, once again, can also mix in checks as they deem required. Really cool stuff. I absolutely like it. That being said, let's move on to my personal thoughts on movement and positions. I really like it. I like how 5e did it all. I just really hate the way it's worded in the PHB, so hopefully this video was able to help you guys out quite a bit. That being said, if you have any cool stories or ideas involving movement, please put them down in the comments beneath. I really love hearing from you guys. I'd also like to take this moment to thank our patrons, Marcos G. Guzman Jr. and Reina as well. You guys have been the best, and I thank you so much for your support. We're also doing the daily live streams from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, so please feel free to come and check those out. And if you like that cool-looking Warforged on the screen and you'd like to get your own hand-drawn D&D picture, please check out our Patreon and figure out exactly how we do that. Thank you so much, guys, for the support. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy adventuring.